I need to tell you something that most doctors will never say, not because they don't know it, but because the appointment ends before they get there. Your body can still be alive while your life quietly disappears around you. That is not a metaphor. That is something I have watched happen slowly, invisibly, to patients who came to me looking perfectly fine on paper. Normal labs, managed blood pressure, nothing alarming. And yet, something was leaving. Their voices got quieter. Their world got smaller. Decisions that used to be theirs started being made by someone else. Most of them never saw it coming because the habits that prevent it are so ordinary so far removed from what a 15-minute appointment ever covers that nobody told them. I'm Dr. Eric Bennett, board-certified cardiologist, 32 years of practice. I have sat across from tens of thousands of patients in the 75, 80, and even 85 age range. And in that time, I have watched the same thing happen over and over again, something the research is only now beginning to fully explain. The first kind reaches 80 and is still driving themselves to appointments, still remembering every grandchild's birthday, still cooking Sunday dinner, still laughing loud enough that the neighbors can hear it, still deciding how their own day goes. The second kind started exactly the same way, same age, often the same diagnoses, but somewhere along the way, their world began to shrink, and what broke my heart across 32 years is this: most of them never saw it coming. Fewer than 1 in 8 adults over 75 maintains all 6 of these behaviors consistently. If you do, you are not just healthy, you are exceptional in a way that science can now measure. Before we go further, number 1 on this list is something I have had fewer than a dozen patients ask me about in 32 years. It has nothing to do with diet or exercise in the way most people think. Yet data from Johns Hopkins and the University of Edinburgh suggests it may be the single greatest predictor of independence past. 75. Stay with me until the end. That one is worth the entire video. Drop your age in the comments right now and tell me which one of these 6 do you think you already have. I read every comment, every single one. Leave it below and let's talk. Now let's count down from 6 to 1. Habit number 6, walking with intention, not just movement. Here's what most people get wrong about walking after 75. They treat it as transportation, car to store, bedroom to kitchen, and count that as movement. It is not. People who age exceptionally walk with cardiovascular intentionality at a pace elevating heart rate to 50 to 65% of maximum, not a stroll. A purposeful, sustained effort lasting at least 20 minutes. After age 70, arterial walls stiffen at an accelerated rate, structural stiffening called arteriosclerosis. When arteries lose elasticity, the heart works harder, blood pressure rises, and the brain receives subtly less blood each year. A Heritage Family Study analysis found sustained aerobic walking produced measurable reductions in arterial stiffness, not slowed progression, actual reduction. Think of your arteries like a garden hose left in the sun too long. They lose their flex, pressure inside rises. Things crack at the fittings. Intentional walking puts the flexibility back. Prescription, 20 to 30 minutes, 5 days a week, at a pace where you can speak in sentences but would not want to sing. Practical tip. Morning timing amplifies everything. Research from the Journal of the American Heart Association found morning exercise produces a 24-hour blood pressure reduction that afternoon exercise does not replicate. Walter, 78, retired engineer from Columbus, Ohio. Blood pressure 148/91 on 2 medications. Resigned. Dignity, he had accepted this was simply what aging felt like. One change, 30 minutes walking every morning before breakfast. 8 weeks later, 134/82. 3 months later, Dr. Bennett, I feel like I got a decade back. One habit, 30 minutes, a decade. Habit number 5, protecting sleep like a clinical prescription. Poor sleep after 75 is not an inconvenience. It is a cardiovascular event occurring in slow motion every night. It goes unaddressed. After age 70, slow wave sleep decreases by up to 80% from your 30s, the phase during which your body repairs arterial walls, regulates inflammation, and removes waste from the brain through the glymphatic system. When deep sleep disappears, that cleaning cycle runs incompletely night after night, year after year. A UC Berkeley study found adults over 70 with disrupted sleep showed 68% higher accumulation of amyloid plaques linked to Alzheimer's. The cardiovascular consequences are equally severe. Fragmented sleep eliminates nocturnal dipping. The nighttime blood pressure drop cardiologists consider one of the most reliable predictors of long-term heart health. When the dip disappears consistently, cardiovascular damage accumulates exactly as it would from daytime hypertension. The people who age exceptionally sleep with military consistency, same bedtime within 30 minutes every night, same wake time every morning including weekends, bedroom at 65 to 68, no screens, 60 minutes before bed, mental stimulation delays sleep onset by an average of 47 minutes in adults over 70 per Harvard Medical School research. Practical tip, 10 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing before sleep. For counts in, 6 counts out. This reduces nighttime cortisol by up to 22% and meaningfully increases deep sleep. It costs nothing, and it may be doing more for your heart while you sleep than the medication you took before bed. Habit number 4, eating protein in a deliberate, distributed pattern. The idea that you need less protein as you age is not just wrong. It may be one of the most harmful pieces of nutritional folklore that has ever passed quietly through the medical system. After 75, your body requires 50 to 75% more dietary protein per pound of body weight than a healthy 30-year-old. The reason? Anabolic resistance, the reduced ability of aging muscle cells to respond to protein stimulation. Your muscles are not lazy. They are harder to reach, left without sufficient signal. Sarcopenia begins, progressive muscle loss. The Mayo Clinic has linked to a 47% increased risk of falls and 53% higher likelihood of losing basic daily function within 5 years. Research in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition involving 2,700 adults aged 70 to 85 found those who consumed 1.2 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight daily across 3 more meals showed 41% lower hospitalization rates from fall injuries and markedly better immune response. Practical approach: 25 to 35 grams at each of 3 main meals for 2 5 ounces of chicken, fish, eggs, Greek yogurt, or legumes, spread across meals because aging muscles can only utilize 35 to 40 g per sitting for synthesis. Practical tip: pair each protein meal with vitamin C, an orange bell pepper, a splash of lemon juice. Vitamin C drives collagen synthesis, maintaining connective tissue and vascular wall integrity after 75. Helen, 79, retired school teacher from Savannah, Georgia, 14 lb of lean muscle lost in 18 months, grip strength in the 12th percentile. Her previous doctor called it a normal age-related change. It was not normal, it was preventable. 12 weeks of restructured protein intake later, 9 lb of lean mass regained, grip strength at the 55th percentile. She told me I didn't realize I had been disappearing. Protein does not just feed muscle, it protects the version of you that still shows up. Before I continue, if this video is giving you something a doctor's appointment never quite had time to give you, please subscribe right now and share this with someone between 70 and 90 who needs to hear it. This channel exists to give you the clinically grounded truth that 32 years of cardiology has taught me truth that 15-minute appointments almost never cover. We are working toward 100,000 people who deserve to know their real numbers. Subscribe, like, let's keep going. Habit number 3, maintaining at least one genuine social covenant every day. I told you one of these habits would surprise you. This is the one. It sounds too emotional, too far outside cardiology to carry medical weight. It is not. A Brigham Young University study analyzing 300,000 adults found social isolation carries a mortality risk equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes per day. Being chronically isolated is as dangerous to your lifespan as smoking 15 cigarettes. Every single day, the National Institute on Aging found that loneliness accelerates cognitive decline by 64%, increases dementia risk by 41%, and elevates interleukin-6 and C-reactive protein inflammatory markers that directly damage cardiovascular tissue. Meaningful social interaction triggers oxytocin, suppresses cortisol, reduces inflammation, and keeps neural pathways structurally intact. Your social brain is a muscle. The neurons that fire during genuine conversation are the same neurons maintaining your memory and sense of self. When those neurons go quiet for weeks, they begin to prune. After 75, unused pathways become far harder to restore. Prescription: at least one genuinely engaged interaction every single day. A real phone call, a community group, a walking partner, a meal with someone who makes you argue a little. Passive presence does not count. The stimulus must be active. Dorothy, 83, from Pensacola, Florida, lost her husband of 51 years and withdrew almost completely. Her daughter brought her to me 8 months later, cognitively declined measurably in under a year. We did not change her medications. We built her a social schedule, a book club, daily phone calls with a rotating family, a twice-weekly volunteer shift at her local library. 8 months later, her cognitive scores returned to near baseline. Her daughter called and said something I wrote down. She sounds like herself again. Social connection is not a comfort after 75. It is a biological requirement. Practical tip: pair social engagement with movement. University of British Columbia research shows combining social interaction with light activity produces a synergistic effect on BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, greater than either behavior alone. Every time you walk and talk simultaneously, you are feeding a brain that still has remarkable capacity to do. Habit number 2, monitoring blood pressure at home with clinical precision. This one is mine. This is the cardiologist habit. Most adults over 75 managing blood pressure see their numbers twice a year. Told a number, told whether it's good, then home for 6 months. This is what the appointment structure produces, and it means an enormous amount of cardiovascular information that could protect their lives is never captured. Blood pressure is not a fixed number. It varies by time of day, activity, stress, sleep, sodium, and medication timing. The SPRINT trial following 9,300 adults demonstrated that treating to a systolic target below 120% reduced major cardiovascular events by 25% and all-cause mortality by 27% versus the standard target of 100%, 40. 1 in 4 people in that study did not have a heart attack or stroke, but sustaining that target requires knowing your number across multiple times of day, not twice a year in an office where anxiety inflates readings. The people who age exceptionally treat their home blood pressure cuff the way a diabetic treats a glucose monitor. Same time each morning, 5 minutes seated rest, cuff at heart level, log it, notice patterns, bring that log to appointments. The number on the office wall is not your real number. Frank, 77, retired firefighter from Baltimore, Maryland, office reading 142/88. Medicated, appeared controlled. 2 weeks of home readings, 158 to 162 every morning. 20 points above anything I'd ever seen from him. Evening readings touching 170 after sodium-heavy meals. He was not controlled. He had appeared controlled. 2 different things. Adjusted medication timing, modified evening eating, added a morning walk before his first reading. 6 weeks later, morning average 128. Not because we found a new drug, because we finally found his real number. Practical tip, read before coffee. Caffeine elevates systolic by 8 to 10 points within 30 minutes in adults over 65. Reading first, coffee second every morning. Habit number 1, daily purposeful cognitive challenge that produces productive discomfort. Here it is, the one I told you about at the beginning. The habit fewer than 12% of adults over 75 maintain consistently. The one Johns Hopkins researchers have called the most underutilized longevity intervention available without a prescription. The one most cardiologists almost never raise in an appointment. Not crossword puzzles, not passive reading. The daily practice of learning something genuinely new, a skill, a language, a musical instrument that forces your brain into productive discomfort. After 75, your brain preferentially relies on established neural pathways, conserving metabolic energy by favoring the familiar. But this same preference depletes cognitive reserve, your brain's resilience buffer against age-related decline. Think of it as RAM in a computer. The more you have, the more damage the system absorbs before symptoms appear. Here is the cardiovascular connection. Almost nobody discusses the same vascular risk factors damaging the heart, hypertension, arterial stiffness, poor nocturnal dipping, also reduce cerebral blood flow and accelerate cognitive decline. Research from the Framingham Heart Study confirmed this entanglement. Protecting cognitive reserves is not separate from protecting your heart. It is a downstream consequence of it. The University of Edinburgh's Lothian birth cohort study, following over 1,000 adults into their late 80s, found those engaging in novel cognitive activities for at least 30 minutes daily showed a 47% lower rate of brain atrophy on MRI and were 38% less likely to receive a dementia diagnosis. Learning a new language delays dementia onset by an average of 4.5 years. A musical instrument engages motor control, auditory processing, memory, and emotional regulation simultaneously. The keyword is active. Watching someone play guitar on YouTube is not learning guitar. Struggling through a chord progression with an instrument in your hands, that struggle is the point. That productive discomfort is where every neurological benefit lives. The resistance is not the obstacle. The resistance is the medicine. Robert, 79, 40 years as a civil engineer in Portland, Oregon, difficulty recalling names and following complex conversations. One prescription alongside his cardiac protocol, pick something he had always wanted to learn and do it every single day. He chose oil painting, terrible at first, and said so with a pride I recognized. 18 months later, 23 completed paintings, a local art group, and cognitive assessments showing improvement in 3 of 5 measured domains. Improvement at 79, not maintenance, improvement. Practical tip, pair daily cognitive challenge with DHA found in salmon, mackerel, sardines, or quality fish oil. Framingham Heart Study research shows adults with higher DHA demonstrate significantly better neuroplasticity responses to cognitive training. DHA helps your brain absorb the benefit of what you are learning. It is the fertilizer beneath the seed. All clinical references are in the description below. Read them, bring them to your next appointment. Now, let me say something. I mean, from 32 years of sitting across from people in this age range, this decade of life, 75 to 85, is treated by medicine, by the media, and sometimes by families as a departure lounge, a waiting period, something to be managed rather than lived. It is not. The body and mind at 75, at 80. And 85 retain a remarkable, stubborn, scientifically documented capacity for resilience, not in spite of age, in dialogue with it. The 6 habits we covered, intentional walking, protected sleep, deliberate protein, daily social covenant, home blood pressure monitoring, and purposeful cognitive challenge are not about turning back. The clock. They are about making the most extraordinary possible use of the time the clock still has, still driving to your own appointments, still being the one who remembers where you put the car keys, still cooking the meal the whole family comes home for. Still being the person whose opinion carries weight in the room, still laughing until your eyes water at something your grandchild said. That is what independence looks like. That is what quality of life means. And I promise you, I have seen it in patients who were told there was nothing left to optimize. It is never too late to begin. If you are not subscribed yet, please do that right now. Every week I bring you the research-backed, clinically honest truth that 32 years of cardiology has made me qualified to teach, and that 15-minute appointments almost never cover. We are on our way to 100,000 people who deserve to know their real numbers. Subscribe, like, share this with someone between 70 and 90 who needs it today. Leave your age in the comments. Tell me which of these 6 you are strongest in and which one you want to build. I will read every response. In my next video, I am going to tell you about something that directly undermines 3 of these 6 habits. Simultaneously, sitting in the medicine cabinets of an estimated 40% of adults over 75 right now, you will want to see that before your next prescription refill. Subscribe, like, share, and I'll see you in the next video.